So let's go ahead and jump on into our first replay. This is going to be Dutch in the Brindisi, the Tier 9 Italian heavy cruiser. These things I hated grinding up, except I had moments of epicness. As a matter of fact, you're on not Sea of Fortune, Sleeping Giant, and I had a moment of epicness on this particular map. I was playing ranked battles. I was on the North spawn. You're on South. I was in Brindisi, and I full health deleted a Yugumo with one glorious sap salvo, and it was all downhill from there. But these cruisers, for those who don't know, can fire either sap shells, which do ridiculous thing to lightly armored ships, especially subs and destroyers, or they can fire AP. So they don't have the ability to start fires. They do also have torpedoes that have pretty good range at 13.5 kilometer, long enough range to where oftentimes both you and the person you hit completely forgot that torpedoes were fired however long ago when they do hit. So that's fun. She's got the ability to make inky, I like to call it deep water smoke instead of exhaust smoke, but you get the idea. How are we going for spaces on Sunday? So far, 0 claimed, maybe 1 if Crying Stripper wants to use one of them. Right, we call those sea mines, David, exactly, the torpedoes. So the exhaust smoke is nice because it allows you to get out of trouble if you are in trouble, or get into trouble if you use it offensively. The big problem is that a lot of players don't understand that you get a penalty from firing your main guns in smoke. And because of the way it did, because of that, if you look under, where is it? Concealment, after firing in smoke, 9.7 kilometer range. So if you're smoked up and you fire your guns, you're detected at 9.7 out, which is ouch. So you gotta be careful of that. The other big trap for a lot of players now is Wargaming added submarine surveillance. So because they added submarine surveillance, now you get this feeling that you need to go and hunt subs. At least you've got the smoke to do it with, but still a bit of a challenge. So yeah, there's a lot about these ships to go. Dutch, what's your experience been with these ships so far?
Well, I struggled a bit up until Zara, but it had also had to do with basically those I'm running up when I barely had played the game.
Okay.
Didn't like them at that point. Then somewhere last year set the challenge to just get every tier 10. So went on from Zara and there, and at least damage-wise, I'm doing pretty okay. If I look at WoW's numbers, everything is either purple or blue.
Okay, good.
Thing is, yes, you can get into trouble. I think it helped that at some point I realized, hey, you are quite fragile. Use your smoke more to escape.
Yes.
So a brown alert moment than anything else. Yeah, and practice dodging, juking.
Mm-hmm.
Speed juking seems to be working quite well, better than rudder shift.
Good.
At least in my experience.
Good.
So yeah, man, I think that's part of what's also going on in this game.
Okay.
As well.
Awesome. Crying Stripper, yep, good point too. Because your sap doesn't pen the it'll shatter against like heavy armor plating. Superstructure higher for battleships is helpful too. Sure. Well, let's look at your build. You have main armaments modification 1, engine room protection, aiming systems mod 1, propulsion mod 1, concealment mod 1, and then finally main battery mod 3, which I think is everything you'd want to have set up. Yeah, I don't think we could look at your maneuverability. That's 10-7. That's fine. Yeah, so that's good. And then you've got a standard captain with last stand, eye in the sky, superintendent, and then concealment. Now, eye in the sky is an interesting idea because it does allow you to get your planes up and keep them up. Quite frankly, whenever you need them for smoke. When I ground through the line, I always kept my head on a swivel with priority target, but fair. I can see your idea there. And honestly, for Venezia, I know there are a lot of people that like playing Venezia with eye in the sky. So sure.
Well, for me, I'm starting to learn that basically expect to get shot at until told otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to have fairly short range,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fine if you're top tier, but if you're not, this, at least for me, if I do not forget to use my spotter plane, gives me the range
Okay.
to toy around with battleships, and it gives me, just because if you can stay at range, gives me a little bit more time to dodge incoming shells as well. So
Sure.
it seems, so far it seems to be working for me.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And that's a good point too, because this does allow you to play a little bit farther away from enemies. Good for initial game contact and that sort of thing. Let's look at your flags. You've got ship HP, fire reduction, heal boosting speed, consumables, anti-air, and then smoke. Sure. Yeah. The only other thing you could possibly run, you could do Sierra Bravo just so that your sub-surveillance comes back sooner. If you're playing a lot of random battles, that could actually be useful for you. Ramming flag, as Rob suggests, is always helpful. Or you could do flood recovery or flood chance if you're looking for another flag. Those are all good choices.
You know, I'll say this much because most people don't look at it. Look at its turret traverse speed right now.
Yeah.
I would almost
30 seconds?
go with range. I would almost go with range over reload.
You could do that. So if you feel like you need that range from the spotter plane, then changing to range here kind of gives you that range from the spotter plane automatically. You do miss out on the reload capabilities, but now you've dropped almost 5 seconds in your turret traverse too. So, a decent point. For me personally, I would probably still do reload just for the... I typically tend to play more aggressive than I probably should. But this helps me with, killing destroyers and stuff that get spotted. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point, though. All right, cool. Well, let's get into the game.
Yeah. I see Putin's point. To me, it's not that often that I run into trouble that I'm like, my turrets are not traversing fast enough. It's more, trying to get either that final salvo off before either you or the target disappears behind an island or in the smoke.
I mean, I bring it up for people that don't have a high situational awareness. Because the other thing it does is you're able to actually go dark a little bit faster because you're waiting on that reload to give you some time to think.
Agreed.
So like, I know everybody wants DPM, it's all about the damage and the DPM.
Yeah. When I saw this lineup, well, I was happy to see my Sevastopol. And then I saw the Jinan Smolen div. And was not sure, but I thought Rare was a Kots clan. So...
Yeah, we've covered them before, Pud and I.
Yeah, so I was like, and knowing my luck, I fully expected them to be on my side.
Well, you've got Gangbrang over here, so that's helpful.
Yeah, but that's the other side. And
yeah,
there, at some point you might spot something going on in a Thunderdome that, in my opinion, actually highlights the issue with the Thunderdome.
Okay. Is the gun bloom extra detection range same for all ships? No, it's based off of your caliber, your gun caliber. And in some cases, even there's some tweaks within that, Oliverman. And yes, it lasts for 20 seconds. So, yeah, that's the part that really hurts. Okay, so you're detected. Obviously, something is in front of the Jinan.
Which would be the Smoland. because they're in the div.
Put your replay last, SF? Okay. Yeah, if the Janon's in the div, then you would expect that's going to be Smallland. Yeah?
And yeah, and I spotted the Janan. That's basically where I started to turn. And
Okay.
I'm using my torps. It's max range, but I'm figuring maybe on the edge that if he moves in, he might catch one or two.
So, what I would suggest is telling your Marceau, you didn't, but saying, hey, you know, click on the map where you think the Smallland is, and just double click and say Smallland there, just so your Marceau kind of knows if he wants to go and deal with them or not. I don't know. I wouldn't, but you know, sometimes major tweaks think less bloom than... Yeah, it does depend on ship. As Pockington said, you've got Hawaii with quite a bit of bloom. Hey, look, you pinged. And hello, Aldeus. Or, sorry, Axel. Good afternoon to you. We had some issues with output earlier, but now it seems to be working better after turning off our whatchamacallit, Twitch Enhanced Broadcasting.
Nice dodge from Torps that were never going to hit you.
Well, you did turn back in towards him, so there's that.
Which is usually the correct call, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recognize the Janan player. I've called his name before in tournaments. Does a second smoke screen block the vision again? No. So if you're behind two smoke screens, but you're still, in the case of Janan, 9.7 kilometer away, Nusperkex, you will still be spotted. Well, rip your sleeping. I keep shooting at the Janan. There's your... okay. I don't like this play here. One, you're allowing yourself to be broadside to the Petro for way too long. And two, smoking up here, you just lost a lot of vision. What I would have done instead was focused on the Janan since he's quite low and get him down. Because one of my favorite things to do when I play random battles, if I see opponents with in a division, is I try to kill one of their div mates as early as possible, because then they have to sit there and wait for the whole game for their friend to finish.
Yeah. Thing was if Janan, but that would have been only rear turrets. Maybe I got a bit greedy there. But I figured it was about time to turn out. Because when shooting at a Janan, I did have the Petro.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect the Vermont to come in that aggressively, but I did expect him to turn around. So I was like, this is probably my best time to turn around.
Now, right here,
maybe they need to...
right here, I would have not shot my guns first. I would have fired my torpedoes at the Vermont, then fired my guns. Right? Because now you want to torp the Vermont because he's in torpedo range, but you can't because you keep shooting him. So if you want to torp him, now you're going to have to turn a lot in order to make that happen. And while you're doing this, you're also broadside to the Petro. So go dark, fire the torps, then start shooting.
Yeah. Okay, see your point.
Fortunately for you, the Vermont seems to be ignoring you. Probably because the St. Vincent is pushing so hard right now.
Yep.
Exactly, Hujam. You fire your torpedoes as often as you can, because rarely are you holding them for a specific target or something. It's more just get those out on the water, because then they can possibly do something. See, like just now you went dark. That was a good opportunity for you to reposition or do something with your other torps. But instead you shot at him. So now he sees you. He says, oh, there's a Brindisi here, you know. A good Vermont player will immediately respond by saying, let me just blast you out of the water. Yeah, co-op is different, of course. They will just dodge, so you can keep them for a drive-by, sure. Now imagine if you had sent a second rack of torpedoes earlier at the same time as that first rack, you might have actually hit the Vermont with one of them. And that's also true, Stripper. Yes, if he is turning to dodge torpedoes, he's going to slow down a bit, and it's going to put more room between you guys. Sure. I like how your Vermont is going to hit the torpedoes you fired instead of theirs. Now, I'm also not seeing a lot of spectating his guns. I wouldn't be zoomed out so long there because you don't have priority target. You really need to figure out, is he targeting you or is he targeting, you know, your teammate in front of you, which is the Vermont. Looks like he's looking at the Vermont. But that kind of information you really need to figure out as early as possible so you can start dodging.
Okay.
Here would actually be a good chance for AP. I would either AP where you aimed or continue sap a little bit higher, but hey, whatever, he died. Well, you guys have no caps. Not exciting.
Yep. But yeah, well, we got left flank, Thunderdome.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with the way the enemy team was positioned, like everybody is stuck. My thought was basically go up to 9-10 line.
Mm-hmm.
And see if we can catch them while they're paying attention to whatever is coming out of the Thunderdome.
The big question is, what's the Janan doing? There he is. I was gonna say, because if you ran into him straight, like headlong, then that's a decent fight for you to take at this point. But unfortunately, it looks like he's going back with the group, so you can take some pot shots. 8-inch AP into the upper casement battleships can do nasty damage. Absolutely, yes.
And now basically our left flank is completely stuck in a Thunderdome. They can't get out. The enemy can't get in.
That's right.
So it's a bit up to me and the Vermont to basically provide an opening. Or create an opening for them at taking out the enemy.
The Petro's in a really bad spot because the Vermont's got a good broadside on him. You do too, but the big thing is the Vermont.
Yep. As you will see happening.
Yeah, I see the shells coming in right now. Oh no, Lepanto.
Yeah, this was a bit of an I had not expected him to move up there at that point.
Well, you know, the thing is, you had your plane up and it didn't spot him either. You both spotted each other, you both said, oh crap, and you both made inky, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to learn myself, to at least make sure in moves like this that you have a get out of jail smoke.
Now, what I might have done is turn south and luck chuck the other set of torps towards him and then turn back to this kind of course. Because you don't know where he's going, so you might as well just get the torps in the water.
Okay.
He shot at you, and there's the gun bloom. little delay there. I know you had said you always say if you are spotted, you figure you're being shot at. But you didn't start turning until you saw Lepanto's shells. I would be more instinctively saying, "Up, I'm spotted. I got to turn out from where Lepanto probably is." You know what I mean? Time to heal. There you go. Oh yeah, the friendly Vermont is getting some good hits in now, which is nice.
Yep.
Okay.
I gave the Vermont a compliment. Of course, at the end. Because, him coming over the way he did saved our flank with both the Vincent and Schlieffen pretty much suiciding.
Absolutely.
And well, he took out the other Vermont and made use of good use of cross shots.
I like how you keep spectating the turrets to make sure that you know when it's safe to turn and when it's not safe to turn. That's very helpful. I still feel if you would have luck chucked earlier, who knows, if you got that hit on Lepanto earlier, right? That's sooner that you guys can start trying to close in on the enemy.
And now with Vermont and enemy Petro down, they can slowly try and get out of the Thunderdome.
What, are you on drugs?
Me?
Get out of the Thunderdome?
You don't ever get out of the Thunderdome.
As the enemy Rhode Island says, well, this is awkward because he got stuck there. And this has been pretty much the situation for the past 4 minutes on that side.
Yeah, he's stuck there.
Don't like the lack of trolling your team by always popping your sub surveillance when it's on cooldown with the sub being dead?
Okay. Anyway.
I got yelled at.
Yeah, the Rhode Island said it was awkward because he just kept getting torped in the face by the sub and the ICUE bombers, so sucks to be him.
Yep.
Right, like the ICUE's never going to come out of there. It's Carrier's home base, baby.
Now, you just got spotted, so you got to start thinking about Dodgy, and I would also be thinking about Torpy.
I don't know. Torpy means you're going broadside to something you can't see.
Yeah, that was my fear as well.
I mean...
And I was assuming that the smaller was not on the 9-10 line. So
no.
This position would mean I was more or less nosing both
Smalland is... There it is, right there.
As well as Smalland, yeah.
But what I mean is...
Of course, I get the full into the nose torp.
That's right. And so that's what I'm talking about with the Dodgy Torpy. If you go side to fire off your torps as soon as you're spotted, Smalland torps are going to be thrown off because he doesn't know what the hell you're doing. You know, are you going into C? Are you doing whatever? No, you're just trying to get your torps out. But even so, that makes it much more difficult for him to line up his torps. Going in the straight line makes it easier. He just says, okay, he's probably going to go here, or he might go here, right? So now he torped both possibilities, and yeah, unlucky torp on the bow. But I mean, in that situation, particularly, why are you looking at the sun? In that particular situation, you don't have to worry about showing your broad to like a battleship or a heavy cruiser or anything like that. They're all dead. So...
yeah, but still, well, I didn't want to show broad to the Jinan either.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I've
because
been
people
able
are corpse?
As well as even if it might not one-shot me, in pumping up rapid shells in my flank would...
Not at that kind of range when you were initially spotted, and the deep water torps are going to take a minute to get to them. So that's what I'm saying, like, when you see you're detected, you're coming up on the smoke, that's when you just go the Dodgy Torpy thing, and then if you want to, you know, say, okay, here's the line I want to use to approach, go back to that afterwards. And by the time you fired off your torps one side, and you fired off the torps on the other, and now you go into a straight line, any deep water torps fired at you, probably are maybe halfway to you at that point, and then I would say the Smalland's torps are maybe starting to approach, but at that point you're going back, you know, directly towards them again, so you're reducing that threat. So that's why I'm just saying, like, in that situation, I'm not afraid of the what are they 127s on the Janan at that range of 11-ish kilometers with AP. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
But yeah, in general, I'd say a solid game. I would be more aggressive with the use of torpedoes, as Hujam said earlier. Just torp all the things, you know, like whenever they're on cooldown, you fire 20, fire 40 of them, you know, like aim to just saturate the water with as much as you can, because team damage doesn't exist anyways. So who cares if your friendly Vermont runs over one of them? If you get a lucky hit on an enemy, then that obviously is the flood possibility. That's raw damage. Even if you don't get a hit, you're taking the enemy's eye off whatever they're shooting and instead saying, oh crap, torpedoes, right? And now they're focusing on dodging torpedoes.
Yep. Okay. Also, apparently 1940 base XP is a 1 in Brindisi.
Brindisi is a very, very difficult boat to master. A lot of players will only grind it enough to get to Venezia, and that's going to be it. She's not the strongest of tier 9 boats, so that makes sense. Yeah,
but well, I more or less like her, so I'll probably play her more often.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. If you're, yes, Puddin'?
I was gonna say she's definitely not on open water Seattle.
No. If you're okay with it, Dutch, I was going to use Dodgy, Torpy as your title, unless you think of a better name.
No, fine.
All right.